already know what it is. It's Barbershop Conversations. Hit the subscribe and the like button today.
Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So I finally get my post-fight J-Rock Charlo. Watching the fight, it was very apparent. Charlo is one of the biggest 54s out there, and he's coming way down to make the weight. His shoulders are so much more broader than a 54-pound guy. He's going to end up at light heavyweight for sure, probably in his 30s. He's going to end up there. If he's disciplined enough, he definitely can fight at 68 and potentially 60, but he is a big dude, and his power is so much more devastating at 54 than it is at 60, and I see why, similar to Canelo's power, but his power is a little bit different. His power is more electric than Canelo's. Canelo's is a little bit more thudding, you know what I'm saying? But getting to the fight, I had J-Rock winning this fight just on will. But when they walked in the ring, it was like, geez. He looked like a 147-pound guy in comparison. It looks like it was two weight classes above him, and it looked like Amir Khan, Canelo. And J-Rock, after when he got knocked down with a jab, you realize for the next 10, because it was the second round, for the next 10 rounds, he has to stay out of the way, and that's awfully hard to do. Amir Khan tried and got knocked out, and the same thing happened to J-Rock Williams, man. And when he got knocked out, it was like a family member loss, because I'm not sure if you guys heard in my interviews, but I said, J-Rock, you've convinced me. In one of my interviews I did with J-Rock, you've convinced me you're gonna win this fight, and I believe that J-Rock had more talent and Charlo had more power. But in most cases, the guy that has the better boxing skills typically wins because they stay out of harm's way. But man, what a shot. And it stung me a little bit. And I was sitting next to a writer from New York, and he said he felt the same way I felt. Looking in the J-Rock eyes these past 4 or 5 days, um, you get the sense that he's going to be a world champion one day. And as he said, it's just not going to be tonight, which was last night. But in terms of boxing skills, J-Rock put himself right back in the fight. He got knocked down, and then he went on to win the next the next 2 to 3 rounds. And Charlo couldn't answer when J-Rock was slick. Get in, get out. But in the second half of the fourth round, I think he got knocked out in the fifth round. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember the rounds. But he stood in the pocket and wanted to exchange fire. And I asked the guy next to me, I says, I have a question. Do you want, when you're in a gunfight, do you want an Uzi or 245s? And that's simply what it was. You can't stay in the pocket with these guys. If you're a young aspiring fighter, don't stay in the pocket with a guy who's stronger than you and will outweigh you the day of the fight. You can't. No, you can. Floyd Mayweather did it to Canelo. You can. But the percentages are against you. And getting back to Amir Khan, Canelo, same thing. You can't sit in the pocket. You got to get off like Abner Mares did in the fight thereafter. Get off and clinch. He allowed the exchange to happen. And that was his detriment. That was his downfall. But the crowd was electric, man. When I say the crowd was electric for that fight took everything out of the arena. The fight was pretty flat for Mares Cuellar, but because it was a pro Mares crowd, the fans were rooting for Mares. But the emotional capital that was in the building was taken out of the Charlo Williams fight. And Williams, I wish you the best coming back. Charlo, you have a bright future. I had my doubts, but looking at you in the ring, you need some diversification on your punches. You need to relocate your punches. Um, you got to work on that double hook to the solar plex and to the head. You got to work on bending your knees a little bit more. You know, it's not bad to hit with your power. I would suggest you and Ronnie Shield start working them hips. You know, right where the leg and right where the leg and your waist meet in that region. You got to bend your knees a little bit more. You're a little bit too more upright, but that's how you've been fighting for years, and that keeps you pretty sturdy. You look real sturdy in the ring, especially at 54. And if you can make 54 for another 2 years, I would suggest that you stay at 54, unless you get the big payday. So congratulations to Charlo, J Rock. I hope that you bounce back. And it was a good fight to cover, man. It was a good card. You know, I would say the upper bowl wasn't full at all, but the lower bowl was probably 85% full. There were some pockets where there wasn't people there. So I'll say about 3 to 4, oh, maybe 5,000, 6,000 people were there. I would say. So thank you. Good card from top to bottom. If you missed this card from top to bottom, it was not I say this as unbiased as possible. That was the best card that I've covered this year, from 4 rounders to the championship fights. The first the doors opened at 3:30. You know what the first fight, you know who the first fighter of this card was? Josecito Lopez. That goes to show you, right, how good the card was. And then you had Erickson Lubin, Lipidem, um, Mares' brother, who's super duper exciting. Um, and the list goes on and on. So congratulations to Charlo. I'm really curious to see who he fight next. Boo Boo called him out at the press conference, but I'm really curious to see where he goes after this tremendous win. And his power, his power. At 54, I don't care how hard you train, and I mean this sincerely. I don't care how hard you train. You cannot train for the power Charlo possesses. There's no sparring partner you can bring in at 54. You would have to bring in a 175-pound guy to spar with you, a 168-pound guy to spar with you, so you can get a feel for the power. You know what I mean? And you're fighting with guards on and headgear on. It's hard to quantify his power in sparring. If you guys are sparring, you fully understand what I'm talking about, because you're fighting in 16-ounce gloves. You know, you don't have to tuck your chin as much. You don't have to move your head as much. You, you can you can raise your shoulder to shield your chin a little bit and fend their power punch off. But you can roll it, excuse me. But the power that Charlo possesses at 54, there's nothing you can do to prepare yourself for that, man. You just gotta prepare mentally, and your game plan must be trump tight. And how you beat Charlo, you have to get him to the second half of the fight. More importantly, the last third of the fight. If you can stay even with Charlo, the last third of the fight, your percentages skyrocket. So Barbershop Conversations, Charlo, I'm really curious to see where you go from next, because do you stay at 54? You know, and who do you fight at 54? There's only one fight left at 54, you know? Or you can move 1 pound up at 55 and fight Canelo, but that won't happen. But Barbershop Conversations, Boo Boo, Charlo, 54, sometime in the spring. Sounds good to me. So Barbershop Conversations, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Charlo's power, you can't quantify it. I'm telling you guys now, at 54, the first 6 rounds of the fight, Charlo's power is superb. You're going to get hit. It's just a matter of, are you fully prepared to receive it? And we've seen it in the majority of his fights. So Barbershop Conversations, feel free to hit the subscribe button. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey guys, it's your girl Angie. You're watching Barbershop Conversations. Make sure to click that button below to subscribe, like the video. Don't like it, leave a comment. You can also follow me at Angelica Curtis on Instagram. See you soon.